Rudy Gobert is a problem, but not for this fight, and not for the reason you think. Apparently, Gobert and Anderson told Gobert to block some shots even though he was hurt. Gobert said to get some rebounds. Anderson told Gobert to shut the F up, bitch. And then Gobert threw a punch. Gobert Anderson did not care, and Gobert ran away.
Come on, man!
Remember when Gobert was saying he was gonna box and said if somebody wants to fight, I'm easy to reach? No, you're not. The Timberwolves suspend Gobert for one game, which was the play-in tournament, which they lost, but honestly looked better without Gobert. If only Edwards could make a shot. Now, description might not even be true, but this isn't the first time Rudy has acted out like this. Sure, he's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Surely that has to mean something, right? That he's respected, that he's one of the best players in the league. Wrong.
So, all the big guys that can't jump, they can't run, all you gotta do is continue to work hard, continue to play, and you can possibly
This guy is one of the best.
Awesome. No, he ain't one of them. Stop it. No, he's not.
Because time and time again, Rudy has cried for recognition. No, I mean seriously cried, like when he was in tears about not making the 2019 All-Star game, and the rest of the NBA mocked him for it. Still, Gobert got traded for Malik Beasley, Beverly, Jared Vanderbilt, Bolmaro, Kessler, 4 first-round picks, and a first-round pick swap. Bro, this package is comparable to KD. Even his own teammates have hated him, which we're gonna show the receipts. And if you're liking the content, subscribe, because over 75% of you aren't. Trying to hit 1 mil in 2023, and just want to have important discussions with y'all, plus 2 important videos coming next week. But when it matters the most, Rudy Gobert has failed and taken down teams with him, to the point where his value has been questioned, and the rest of the NBA knows it. What is up, dudes, that's Ballers Players, it's your boy MJ. We're not that far removed from the 2021 playoffs where Gobert, especially in Game 7, was played out of the game on the defensive end. Yeah, you heard me. A Defensive Player of the Year was the biggest weakness in the Jazz defense. The idea behind the Jazz defense was for Gobert to defend the paint, and against the Clippers, he got train ran on him. He got dunked on, laid up on, and then as part of the defensive plan, let Terrence Mann shoot open threes all the way to 39 points. Gobert was rendered useless in the modern day 5-out offense. It was to the point that Gobert had to get subbed out. We're gonna be watching and dissecting these playoffs live on playback, so join me, cause over the years we've seen Gobert try guard perimeter players with some not so great results. Heck, let's look in 2022. For 4 consecutive series, teams have posted better offensive efficiencies in the playoffs against the Jazz than their regular season. But part of that could also be the rest of Jazz players not making rotations and getting blown by. The Jazz were still better defensively with Gobert on the court than off. I'll also admit that the Jazz would often miss Rudy Gobert wide open or with a mismatch. However, in his last 7 seasons, let's look at the scoring. That shit near a straight line. He's hovered between 13.5 and 15.9 points for 7 years. And while he has led the league in field goal percentages at times, it's because most of his points came from alley-oop dunks or straight feeds inside the paint. So why hasn't he gotten more touches? Well, for one, man isn't reliably catching passes. If you let him cook, this happens.
Nani?
In fact, we can even take a look at his turnovers per touch, and it's extremely high. Compare that to Embiid, Jokic, Vucevic, centers that get more offensive attention in doubles, and Gobert is struggling out here. We haven't seen Rudy add any sort of offensive bag. No threes, even though in practice he was knocking down multiple. See, NBA players can do anything in practice. Ben Simmons can actually make jump shots. And this year, we've seen a complete dysfunction within the Timberwolves. I mean, shit, his teammates just mad. The Timberwolves led the entire NBA in technicals. And yes, Jane McDaniels broke his own hand punching a wall. Having both Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns on the floor at the same time is an experiment gone weird. Now, Rudy has been great at defending pick and rolls, but there are limitations with Gobert that you have to play with certain defenses to fully optimize. The perimeter guards need to chase guards off the 3-point line and then rotate back. Switches here are the enemy. But with Towns, the Timberwolves run a different defense, having Cat hedge up front, have defenders rotate, tag the roller, while the defender one pass away will often have to play two shooters while the big man recovers. It's a fairly common defense when avoiding the initial switch. And when both are out on the floor, you have a lot more mismatches, a lot more rotations that can't be as quick. And on the offensive end with Rudy, you don't get to take advantage of that big size. But don't take my word or thinking basketball's word for it, just look at the frustration of the Timberwolves players. And the problem isn't that Rudy Gobert is a useless basketball player. Heck no, he is a shot blocking presence that alters several shots with a 7'9" wingspan. And with Gobert's low scoring, might make sense to pick him in Prize Picks, the sponsor of today's video. You've seen me crush it 8 times in Prize Picks, so will I make it 9? It's daily fantasy made super easy. Pick 2 6 players. They'll score more or less than a Prize Pick projection, you get paid. It's you against the numbers. Like here, I picked Westbrook to go over because he was playing Durant. And Reeves to go under since he's had a couple of games over. And we hit. You can win up to 25 times your money on any entry, and picks can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. And with the playoffs, we're going to see Westbrook versus Durant round 1. That's amazing. And using MG2K, you get 100% into deposit match up to $100. So download Prize Picks and play daily fantasy sports with us. And make sure you use the promo code MG2K when you sign up. Also tell me which player you think is going to do really well in the playoffs in the comments down below. And play responsibly. But even his own teammate Anthony Edwards isn't scared of Gobert.
I don't get why we couldn't finish on Rudy Gobert, but don't put no fear in my heart.
Well, that's what he said in December of 2021. Literally less than a year before they got Gobert. Players haven't truly respected Rudy, even though by every metric and the eye test, Rudy has commanded paint presence defensively. In his first 7 seasons as a starter, the Jazz finished first in points allowed over 100 possessions, first in opponent's true shooting percentage, and first in defensive rebounding percentage. In fact, Rudy's come-up story is amazing. He was the 27th pick in the 2013 draft and starred in the D-League, but he was a stick. Man went from 2 points a game all the way up to 12.4 points and 12.1 rebounds a game in just 4 years through hard work and a lot of film study. You don't become a defensive player of the year randomly, or do you become a 4-time All-NBA player with that basic of an offense. But the Jazz also gave Gobert a 5-year, $205 million contract that Shaq was clowning earlier in this video, which at the time was considered a crazy contract. And now the Timberwolves are stuck with a guy that for 3 more years will make over $40 million a year, despite not having showed a true effectiveness in the playoffs, and with big concerns going forward. The problem is what the Timberwolves gave up for him, because I don't think anyone is giving up 4 first-rounders and some solid players for Rudy now. The Timberwolves expected this to be the season to push into some form of contention. D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Cat, and Gobert with an interchangeable 3? That sounds good on paper, but one of the pieces the Timberwolves traded in Jared Vanderbilt is part of the Lakers' resurgence as the 3rd best defense in the league since the trade. And maybe you have hope that the Timberwolves will figure it out since currently Towns only played 29 games, and with D'Angelo Russell, a weaker perimeter defender, out of there. But what if I told you that Gobert's history with teammates says otherwise? Specifically, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan was drafted in 2017 by the Nuggets and traded to the Jazz. Fun fact, Rudy was also drafted by the Nuggets and then traded to the Jazz. And Donovan's first year was right after the Jazz lost Gordon Hayward. Donovan carries the team's offense in the playoffs, averaging over 20 points a game in his rookie year. It looked like Rudy and Donovan together could get the Jazz far. But in 2020, in the beginning stages of the COVID outbreak, players and the team were telling Rudy to take it a bit more seriously, and he came out and did this.
That is blasphemous!
In fact, even though players were informed to take precaution, Rudy touched other players and their belongings as a joke. The result? Rudy got COVID, and Donovan got COVID 4 days later. Their relationship was reportedly unsalvageable, and Donovan was mad. Again, Gobert disregarded his teammates immaturely, and for the most part, Donovan and the rest of the vets had a close connection, but not with Gobert. But Mitchell flipped his tune and said, "We're good, we're focused on winning, you don't always have have to be the best of friends with people you work with. Shaq and Kobe are not the example that can work with everyone because neither person in this duo is as good. So you can't just overcome chemistry issues. And over time, by 2022, with the Jazz failing to make the NBA Finals, Mitchell was frustrated. And after a trade, he said they both didn't see eye to eye and they want to win in different ways. We see it now. The Cavs are the 4th seed in the East. Donovan averaged 28.3 points, probably a solid 5th or 6th in the MVP race. It's one thing to make enemies outside your team, which Gobert has. But when you have teammates that are constantly frustrated with you in multiple situations, you gotta look at yourself. D'Angelo Russell was also frustrated with Gobert on the court because he didn't like the basketball adjustments required to make Rudy, at the bare minimum, playable. Rather, I don't even think Rudy Gobert has truly taken accountability. He has spoken out against his own teammates, calling them out and saying that some of us just don't compete. But that has to come from the right person. Imagine if Ben Simmons told the 76ers that they had to play harder. That would be dumb. Also, that's an internal conversation, not one for the public. Yes, he has apologized publicly for his prior actions, but until his teammates truly feel close with him, for a playstyle that relies heavily on being in sync with his teammates, the Timberwolves are stuck. And let this be a warning to stop handing out stupid contracts or stupid trades to make your team halfway relevant, because Richard Jefferson called this the worst trade in NBA history. I don't think it's the worst, but it's up there. The all-day notification shout goes to Big Wiggy. Thanks for the all-day support. And if you want to know why DeMarcus Cousins is not in the NBA, there's a video right here. And if you're still here, you're a real one, so comment baguette so I know. It's your boy MJ. We out.